trying to make it look a bit better so you can see me better, because I rotated it the wrong way, but I'm sure you don't mind. Anyway, let me just try and fix this so that it is a little bit better for you to see. So otherwise you're just looking at my pretty ceiling in the background. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about quite a few things that are very, very interesting in the candle world. It's super duper important to think about, a business when you're going to make it. Now, this is a Sunday chat. So every Sunday chat, what we actually do is we talk about lots of different things. See, I told you my phone. Oh, there, that's better now, isn't it? So we talk about lots of different things that can help you in the business world. Now, of course, I'm not in my studio. I'm inside my bedroom at the moment. My husband does have a desk in here. So because my husband is actually making my new shop at the moment, which is in, which is going to enter from the front seat. But anyway, for now, let's just talk about, of course, the candle business. Now, for many of you that may not know, the candle business is a multi-billion-dollar business every year. So there is definitely room for lots of people to make money. But lots of us sort of think, oh, well, we can't, there's too many candle makers. And 100% it is saturated. I'm not going to lie there. It definitely is. But you can definitely make something good out of it. Hi, Brenda. Welcome from the USA in Texas. So you definitely can. But I'm going to go through a few tips. And I have some really exciting information that I'm going to share with you today. We do have a lovely, amazing candle woman that has made it, super big. And she's from the USA. And she is going to be coming to the 2024 Australian Soaping and Candle Conference. She will be another star guest speaker. We also do have Marie from Humblebee and me. So that's two ladies flying in to Australia, which is super exciting, isn't it, for the conference. Now let's get on to a few different things. I will actually tell you her name by the end of this. I've got a whole list of what we're going to go through today. So now I will look down because I do have my notes, as lots of you know. Now let's start with the first things first. Now, if I was going to be starting a candle business today, I would definitely be looking at my wax before I looked at anything else. But usually what people do is they go and find the jar. Because, we just think, well, you find the jar and then you make it. But usually the wax will determine what kind of jar you're going to use and why. So let me give you an example. If we're going to use this beautiful jar, so this is, a clear jar. This one's from Luxury Candle Supplies. It will look beautiful with wax, but if you use something like 464 that has frosting and a lot of issues with that wax, you're going to see it through the jar. So I probably wouldn't use 464 with something like this. I would more likely use something like A05 or a coconut wax that is not doesn't have the same sort of issues. So that's sort of what I would do when we're looking at wax. Now, looking at a candle business, there's kind of steps that you want to go through before you know if this is going to work or not. And I'm going to tell you the people, the best advice I can give you. Now, let's start from the start. The best advice I can give you, the ones that make it are the ones that are determined. They do not bow out. And I can tell you on many of the Facebook groups, I see so many people destashing, getting rid of their things because they've tried it for a year, might have been 2 years, maybe 6 months, and they've just realized it's not easy. It's hard, and it is really hard. It seems easy getting a jar, pouring some wax in, putting a wick in, and there you go, it's done. But that's not that easy. There's a lot of testing, a lot of money involved to make this. But there are ways that you can do this with limited to no money. And when I say none, I mean, obviously you need some money to start, but there are other ways. And this particular candle lady that I've been speaking about, she is very, very clever in honing down on how to do that on a limited budget. And there's been many single moms, single parents that have actually done this kind of industry and made a living out of it on limited or very, very limited money. So, but it just means you can't be making thousands of products. You might have to do pre-orders and things like that. So that's just another way around how we're actually going to we're going to do it. So like I said, I do have my little list down here. So like I said, we'll start with the jars, okay, just to make things easy. So like I said, you've got a clear jar. There's lots of clear jars around. Please make sure these jars are from candle suppliers. You can't just get them from your discount store because it means they have not been tested or approved to use with heat. So these obviously are for heat. And some of these jars, like this one here, I actually use it. I use some of these. I have a couple of them that I use just for different things as well, not just for candles as well. Yeah, you haven't incorporated them into your range. Lovely. Somebody is just saying here that they've been testing for over a year and haven't incorporated. And honestly, that's exactly what I had to do at the start. And sometimes when you see me release a candle, it means I've been testing that candle for about 8 months, just that 1 scent. So it's really not that easy. Good morning, Samantha. How are you, my love? Welcome to Sunday Chat. So now this is another candle that I make. So for me, to give you an idea, I make my own candles out of this product. Now, this is Hydrostone. Hydrostone does say on their website and everything else, it's designed to make candles in. It has a heat resistance. So that's the thing. You need to make sure of all these things and that your insurance will cover you making it. So like I said, so these are one that I make. And I do also make these little tin ones. These, if I'm going to be honest with you, one of the biggest sellers is the tinier candles because they're cheaper for people to be able to afford to buy and test and try if they like your product first. Good morning, Coconut Coast. How are you, my love? And this is one of my other ones. These ones are very popular with the flower on it. You've probably seen lots of those around at the moment with the flower. But make sure when you're doing this that the wax has to go down low enough so that when everything burns, it's not going to flow over the top. And I've seen some to make this gorgeous candle and the candlestick's high up. But that's no good because then when it melts, it's going to go over the sides, and you don't want that to happen either. But first of all, like I said, you want to find your jar. That's the most important thing. Of course, the wax, like I said, a lot of people get wax first and then jars, or jars and then wax. To me, it doesn't matter because, you're going to test this anyway. If it doesn't work, go back and get something else. So you might even want to do, like when I first started, I used 464. That is the most common wax. It's a soy wax that most people start with. 464 is not my favorite. It has lots of issues with it as frosting. It is an easy wax to use, but lots of people will tell you there's a lot of issues. I personally use a coconut soy now, which is called A05. That is definitely my favorite one, but I've tried probably a dozen different waxes until I came to one that I was super happy with. Another one that is good is coconut soy wax from Pure Candles. The only thing with that is it is a bit more tricky to work with, and when these burn down after it remelts, it melts bumpy, and I didn't like that. So that was my reason I didn't like that. But I know it's just a part of candle wax, but some people don't like that. So that's what's super important. So once you've got all that, obviously, then choose your fragrance, then test. Now, if I was going to start today, I'd say just only choose 6 fragrances because, I think I have 20 in my range, but the difference is, I guess I'm a bit more established, so then you can bring in more. But I don't make, 30 of these in one go. Often I'll only make 10. And then if they sell, they do. And then that's okay because, the thing is, if you don't have a store or you're not in these sort of places, it's going to be pretty hard to sell, a massive amount until you get going because it takes a long time, everybody. It really does. Now, another thing to make your candles shine is definitely the labels. So even if you have a clear jar, and look, I'm going to be really frank and honest, and I say it as it is, not everybody, but it's a lot of people use a clear jar. Millions of people use a clear jar. So for yours to be selling more than your neighbor or your opposition, it needs to be different. So you can't just be putting a black clear label on, and you can, but it may not sell. And something one of my daughters said to me, that she's in her 20s and she buys hundreds of candles every year. She was telling me that she's bought quite a few minimalistic clear jars or white ones. You know, people have made them, she's bought them. And she said that the label was very minimalistic. She said, but she said, honestly, Mum, they never stood out. She said, so I couldn't even remember where I got that from. And once she's thrown out the jar, she couldn't remember. Whereas a lot of people will remember me for a terrazzo or a pink jar. So then they remember where it's from. So that's something to think about, that if your jar is plain like everyone else's, they may not remember you as well. Yeah, that's right. If they sit there, yeah, they can smell like they've just been burnt. Yeah. I mean, look, for me, you know, I think, look, that's all in the testing, lovely too, Samantha. But the one thing that I didn't like with some waxes is if someone buys it and then they don't burn it for 6 months, which that often happens, sometimes the wax will go yellow or brown. And that's some of the soys or coconut soys can do that. And I know it's the fragrance too, but even ones that weren't the fragrance, that's not that attractive. Whereas with the A05 I'm using now, I've not found that. So I've definitely not seen that at all. I haven't seen any discoloration, rather than a very light tan. If it's, you know, like if it's a coffee scent, obviously it's going to have more of a darker oil. But that's the one thing that I've definitely noticed. But the one thing that I think with A05 that I've noticed is it's more tricky to get the wick exactly right. And I bought that many wicks. So, and that's the thing, you have to test, because if the wick's too big, it might smell great, but then you've got a problem, don't you? So, because it might crack the jar, it would be too hot, and so on. What wax do you like for melts? For my melts, I actually do like M12, but M12 does have a paraffin. So I'm going away from that, and I'm going to be using A05, which is a coconut soy, but that one seems to be a little harder than some of the other coconut soys. So that's what I like. I purchased my A05 from Luxury Candle Supplies in Australia. So I'm sure even if someone's from another country, I'm sure if you reach out to them, they may be able to help you or let you know where you can get them or so on. But, you know, and I don't have any affiliation with that company. That's just where I buy mine. They're pretty fast with delivering. And I think Michael is the owner, and he's been pretty good helping me. I asked a few questions about wicks, and he was really good. Straight away, he got on and gave me a bit of advice, because this bigger jar, I wanted to do a wood wick, and I just couldn't get it right. So he was pretty good helping me. So, and I always go to a company that will help. If you go to a really big company, you know, often they won't even return your message. So that's a bit of a problem. So I don't buy from the super big ones really anymore, because, like I said, if they can't answer my question, well, I'm not interested. Because, you know, let's be honest, we're paying thousands of dollars. So we want to make sure that, you know, we're getting exactly what we should be getting. So now, like I said, so the label is important. You know, make sure your label sings your brand. So for me, all my labels have a pink backing. And okay, you might say, well, what happens if someone doesn't like pink? Well, they're probably not going to buy my candle. I mean, you know, don't worry about that. But you need to make sure your branding is the same every time. So when someone picks up my brand, whether it is, you know, a lotion or whether it's a candle, they know what it is. And they know it's me. They'll remember me for that. So try and find something where you're remembered. That's important. Now, you can use clear labels. Do remember that some labels, vinyl labels and clear, some of them, the cheaper ones, what happens is when the candle burns and the jar gets hot, they will actually bubble up and melt onto the jar. So that is really important to test that as well. So burn it, do your power burn and your test burn with that label on it. That is really, really important. It's something I learnt the hard way because I didn't even think about that. But that's important. And if you're using like a stone, like a hydrostone or something, making something like that, I do suggest don't put a label on the outside. You can stick one on. Of course, you need to have your warnings on the bottom. But, you know, around the wick here, you could just tie something, a string and a tag that says what it is, or if it's in a box. Eventually mine will all come in professional boxes. At the moment they don't, they just come as they are, and I wrap them up neatly in some nice tissue paper so it still looks beautiful. But in the end, that is what's going to be my thing. And that's the thing too, you want that experience for somebody buying, because if they have that experience, I have some customers that have bought 6, 7, 8 different times from me, and they just say to me, I'm coming back for the experience. Yes, I love the product, but I'm also coming back because they like to open the tissue and all of that. So also we will talk now. Let's just off that subject, let's go a little bit onto price. This is very controversial, everybody, because everyone has their own opinion, and it doesn't mean anyone's right or wrong. It's just however you want your business to be. So I'm going to give you an example. So a candle like this, for me, this is 220 grams. I sell these for $40. I've seen these sold for $15, $20, $26, $70, $90. It just depends. But, I think you have to be realistic what you want to charge and how you can stay in business. If I charged $20 for this, I honestly couldn't stay in business. It's not enough money. And because I use my own, I have my own boxes made and everything like that, that costs more money. That usually adds $2 or $3 onto some products if you're supplying a box or tissue paper. So your product needs to be expensive enough to include those things. And on my site, for instance, I have a thing, if they spend $150, then the shipping will be free. Now, even though I say free shipping, it's not free to me. It's still going to cost me $20 to ship that. So you have to remember that this product needs to include that. So when I do my pricing, I get all of the COGS, which means your cost of goods. That means your label, your wax, your wicks, everything. Now, I don't include my time in that because my time's going to come in a bit later. So basically what I do is I do all of that. I figure out what the cost is. I times that by 4 plus 10%. So that means that's all my wiggle room and everything like that in there. Whereas some people will only times it by 2, plus they will add on their time. So to me, timesing it by 4 plus 10%, that is also adding in my time to make it. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense with the price, but it doesn't mean I'm right. Some people might say, well, no one's going to buy that. Now, this is the thing, everyone. I promise you, somebody is going to buy this. I promise you they will. I really do promise that is going to happen. They will definitely buy it, but it's just going to take time, everybody. Please do remember, it's just going to take time, but that's okay. That's just what happens in business. So, you're not going to sell 1 million candles on day one, but, please make sure that you think of this as a business plan. Selling candles is a 5-year business plan. Do not give up before 5 years, because if you do, it means it has not been given a good enough chance to succeed, because people need to find you and all of that. And I'm going to give you a few tips at the end, a few things that you maybe could do as you go along. Now, when we talk about also the waxes, so you can have paraffins, you can have blends, soy, you can have a coconut soy, beeswax. There's so many different options, and some are more expensive than others. So A05 is more expensive than the other one I was using before, so then my candles needed to go up a couple dollars. And never ever feel ashamed to make your candle go up. A lot of people go, oh, I'm a bit embarrassed because my candle's $10 more than my friend's. Don't worry about that. Your friend might have got it cheaper, her products. She might have got, all the waxes cheaper. So please don't worry about that. Just try and, see how you're going to go along with everything else. Now, if I'm going to be honest with you, making a business and making this successful, the biggest advice I can give you to make this successful is social media. You must be on social media. It's free. So even if you don't have any money, before you even start a social media, start an Instagram. If you don't know how to use social media, because a lot of people say that to me, they don't. They say, I'm too old, I don't. Well, I'm 51 years old and I can use social media, and I have spent hundreds of hours teaching myself, watching videos, asking my children, asking my younger daughters, how do you do it? Some of my daughters even showed me how to do highlights, how to save things and everything onto Instagram, which I didn't know how to do. And my daughter, when she was 11, taught me how to use TikTok. So this is what I mean. If you don't know how to use it, you need to research. It's free to research. We have Google now. So please do that. That is going to be your biggest power in making money. And for me, I really believe to be a successful business, you need to, number one, have your own website. Even if you sell on Etsy, you need your own website. It makes you look more trustworthy. People will keep coming back to you. So super duper important. You're with me there. Yeah, Coconut Coast. I agree, darling, because as we all know, social media is your visual presence, and people can't be bothered reading the whole post anymore. They just look at the pictures and click through, and then they might go click, okay, I love it, and they'll go. You can attach a shop. I don't personally have a shop on my social media. A lot of people do. My thing with that is I want people to go, if they really want it, they love it, they will click on my bio, go to my website. It takes them straight there. So that's the reason why, because I want all of mine on my website. But some people do it a different way. But, you need to be on TikTok, Facebook. You need to be on Instagram, in particular Instagram. That is a visual presence. Do reels. You can go on YouTube and do reels and make money out of doing reels. Reels on YouTube are 60 seconds. So open up your own YouTube account and just put reels on there. And before I made any money on YouTube, I say this all the time, I did well over 100 videos before I even made 1 cent. But now obviously, as you go along, you get better and then you make more money. And, when I first started this, I would never have thought I could actually make money out of all of these things. So remember that although we're selling a product, you also need another revenue stream. So you want to make money through Instagram or, TikTok. You can make money out of videos and things like that now. So just, you've got Patreon. You can make money out of Patreon. Super duper important. So always be thinking that it's not just about the product. It's about other things to help you make money. And then that gains you more trust. So that's the thing, everyone. And look, I'm going to say something a lot of people don't agree with, but I believe sharing is caring. I give away a lot of information for free. So a lot of people won't. They don't want to tell you where they buy something from or where they're sourcing it from. Me, I don't care, because if somebody really likes me, they're going to buy my candle. They don't care where I've sourced it from. So that's the thing. But I know it's quite controversial. I mean, I give away where I get things printed, lots of things. Because, at the end of the day, somebody will often start something and they give up because they just realize it's hard and then they stop doing it. So don't ever feel like, you're giving it away and someone's going to steal your idea. They're not. Candles have been made for a long time. So hundreds of years. So I don't think that we're the first to make a candle. We are definitely not. Now, you must test it, everyone. Please test it. Do a power burn, do, a small burn, do a long burn. So many different things that you can do. Because even though we tell people only burn for 4 hours, my daughter will tell me all the time, she's 25, and she says, oh, I burnt this candle for 10 hours. And I go, what? When I say to her, no, don't do that. But this is the thing, and her jars are so hot, I almost dropped a few. I put my hand around one, and it burnt my hand. So that's the thing. People are not going to listen, and these are not, the jar she's burning are not mine. She uses mostly glass, like a lot of glass like this, and they get very hot. They can crack. So even though we're telling everyone what to do, sometimes they don't listen. So pretty important, everybody. Now, as you would have seen in the blurb, it does say how to make, a successful candle business. So like I said, these things need to be lined up to be successful and make money. Markets are definitely an amazing thing where you're going to make your money. Everyone that starts usually will make them. They will start at markets, then they'll do festivals, they'll have their website and maybe in a shop, maybe on the shelf in a shop. You can pay as well. G'day, mate. How are you? Welcome to our little Aussie channel. So, So anyway, I'm just answering a few questions, everyone on there. So now also, there's a few things that we need to talk about as well. Find your target market. It's really, really important. A lot of people will hone down on exactly who that is. Now, if you're like me, when I started, I said, well, how do I know who my market is? How do I find that? I had no idea. Oh, hi, another Rhonda from Florida. So the thing with your target market is, and I'm going to tell you this. This is a little story about a big company. I won't mention who the company is, but what they did is they created a false person for their company. So, and that was so that all of their staff would know how they're targeting people. So they said, for instance, this girl is young, she lives in the country, she works part-time, she's, a writer, she does all of these different things. She's athletic. That's how they knew who their target market was. So even in your head, create something like that where you do something like that as well. Oh, hello. Thank you. That's so nice. Somebody is just saying that they've struggled a bit, but I've really inspired them. I really hope so because, as I tell everyone, honestly, I'm not a rich person. I'm a standard person. I live further out, 2 hours out from the city, in a little tiny 3-bedroom old home. So, I am definitely not a wealthy person. So lots of people can do it. If you don't have money, it just takes a lot longer. How do I deal with the negative comments? Look, I get a lot of negative comments. I mean, people will say, oh, that you're ugly or you're old or, send you mean things. In the background of YouTube and things like that, you can actually put a few stops on things as well. So you have to do the background work. My son actually helped me set that up when I first started. But honestly, you just get a thicker skin. For anyone asking about social media, you get a thicker skin and sometimes you block people. So I've only ever had to block one person. Sometimes I'll limit what people are allowed to say, but generally I don't. And on YouTube, every single day I go through all of the comments, and sometimes in a week I can have 200 comments, and I will just delete any that are mean. I don't care, and that does. Even if a comment's bad, it actually does help the algorithm pick you up more, but I don't care. I'm like, no, they're getting removed. And I don't let someone say something stupid. They just get removed. And even when we're talking on lives, people often do that too. So in answer to your question, honestly, you just have to live with it. And you also have to remember that not everyone's mean. Sometimes people may have a mental illness and they say things. And sometimes people just want to get attention. But the more attention you give them, the worse they'll get. So you'll even see when you see things come up on the screen, silly things. I just, sometimes I'll comment back, but other times I just ignore it because otherwise you're giving them more power. My suggestion is, unfortunately, you have to live with it. You're putting yourself out there. It's just like, a famous person. People don't know them and comment about them all the time. It's unfortunately just a part of being on social media. It's just life. Oh, thank you, Coconut Coast, my friend. We do chat sometimes, and she's also an amazing, amazing candle maker. She makes jars just like me. So check her out. Please join her social media. She's really good, especially if you want to see some visuals on Insta. So check her out. Hi, Chrissy. How are you, my love? I hope you're doing super duper well. So anyway, like I said, you just have to try and ignore people. Try not to do those things as well. Try not to worry about those things, I should say. And I'm flicking over my page because I have so many. So now let's get on to, like I said, I do have an amazing, amazing lady, which she has been just so inspirational to me and many others. She's also got a YouTube channel. And this particular lady is now going to be coming to the Australian Soaping and Candle Conference. She is going to teach people how you actually make money out of a candle business. She's going to give you the steps from A to Z, and she's definitely done it and has, a 6+ figure business. And her name is Jazz. A lot of people will know her. And she is from Black Sunflower. So she's flying into Australia in March for our conference. And I think we do only have 40-something tickets left in person. So if you want them, go onto that website, which is the Australian Soaping and Candle Conference.com. And even if you're in another country, you can actually buy an online ticket. So you'll get a book with all the information online, an ebook as well. If you're there in person, you'll actually get the book given to you. And we also have Marie from Humblebee and Me. If you're a skincare or formulator, she'll be talking all about formulating and things like that. So I'm really, really excited to have Jazz on board, and, you know, watch her video. She's very good what she actually teaches, and she's one very, very smart woman. So, you know, I love listening to all these other ladies. And this is the thing, everyone. I didn't learn by myself. I learned by other YouTubers before me. So somebody might learn from me, and then they might be the next YouTuber that people follow or watch. And then eventually, you know, when I first got my first month on YouTube, when I made money, I think it was $23. You know, but then eventually you get to the stage where you see $100, $500, $600, $800, and then you're like, wow, I didn't realize I could earn money out of just making something I love doing anyway. And not everyone loves making a candle or a soap. They might have a business in soap making, doesn't mean they love it. It may just be their business as well. So anyway, they're just a few things, and I hope these things are going to help. But, you know, as I said, the biggest thing I can tell you is do not give up in 1 year. If you give up in 1 year, you have not given your business long enough to start as well. Is it hard to make soaps or body soaps? Look, it is. It takes time formulating. There's so many things that you have to do along the way. But, you know, at the start, look, I just tell everyone, you know, when I first made my first soaps, they were hopeless. And, you know, they made into soap. I didn't sell them back then, but that's the thing. Same as candles. You're not going to sell the first candle you ever made. Test it and use it for yourself. Please do not use essential oils in candles. Candles should be used with fragrance oils that are designed for candles that are bought from a supplier. It means they're tested, they're regulated. Very important. I do suggest that you do not use essential oils in candles. Essential oils are great in soaps, but not in candles. So, you know, that's just something to think about. The same as, you know, look, there's so many people that do some fabulous things. I don't put stones or florals or anything on my candles because that is a bit of a risk, and it's just opening up you to be sued, to be honest. Even though the candle industry is not very regulated, you know, eventually it will be very regulated. So just try and do all those things to protect yourself. You can add colors like candle colors. Make sure they are appropriate candle colors as well. Don't be using something that is not zoned for a candle. And if you make a candle and you think, oh, that just doesn't look safe to me, do not sell it, throw it out. And, you know, I said this in another video, a lot of companies have a thing on their you know, it's a part of their business that they will have like wear and tear, or they will have, you know, it's basically rubbish. So you have to sometimes throw things away to make money, because that's how you learn. So don't ever feel like you can't do that. You do need to get rid of stuff if it's not working, and then go back to the drawing board. So I know when I sell this candle, I know it looks beautiful. I know that it's safe, and everything else. Obviously, it doesn't have its warning label yet, but I will definitely put that on there before it sells, just like this one has on it there. And it's just the same as these little ones here. So just do remember all of those things. It's super important. But like I said, the way to start a candle business to make money, you can do things as pre-orders. So if you don't have the money, as long as you've tested it first, but you could literally be making it and tell people, well, it's 4 weeks and then I get it to you, or 2 weeks. You can take pre-orders. A lot of companies work on pre-orders now, which might mean that you do a launch and you will say it's a pre-order. We order it in so much time. Another thing I thought of the other day that would be super duper good. Yeah, you get discouraged if you don't make sales. I understand that. I really do. Oh, you don't have a candle business, but you like watching me. Oh, thank you. Look, and I understand, you know, look, and this is what I say to people. I'm going to be honest, I don't sell things every single day. I don't. But, you know, if you're really trying to make this as a business, I do suggest you have other revenue streams. You know, it's the same as if people have a shop. So they also have online and they have a shop. So they're two things that they're, selling for. A lot of people now do digital things. So you might make digital things that, are pre-made stickers. And it might just be the digital, so they can buy that and print it themselves at home. Think of other things as well. But it is very, very discouraging. I'm going to be honest. If you're not selling something, it can be. And I know because it happened to me at the start. But eventually, after years, it works. Any business will tell you. The first 5 years are the hardest 5 years. After that, usually you'll do all right, but just don't take out a loan and try and go slow. As I've said many times, if I had lots of money, I could have invested it and I could have made super good money straight away, but I didn't have that money. So I've just had to do it like the snail pace a bit longer, and that's okay too. But like I said, the first thing is testing, getting your website. You must have a website. I really 100% agree that you have to have a website, even if you're not selling much. Otherwise, it just doesn't make you look that professional. Even if you're on Etsy, still have your own website so people can still Google and find you. And many people often, like now that I have a YouTube channel, I get emails to say, can I talk about their product? If they send me something for free, can I talk about it? If I don't agree with the product, I won't. But, I will always go and check out their website. If they don't have a website, I just delete it. And I just no, I'm not going to do that, because it just doesn't give the trust. So that's the thing. You must have that. And then try and do, markets, festivals, things like that. Most of you know my daughter has a earring company. She earns well over 100,000 every single year, but she does all the festivals and carnivals and things like that, and that is her job, going to all of these festivals as well as online Etsy. She has lots of revenue streams, and it's exactly the same as me. You have to have more than one revenue stream, and as most of you know, I'm actually also building a shop, so that will be another revenue stream where people can come in. And this shop is attached to the side of my house, so it's not in my house. It's got its own little shop to the side, but it's very common. There's lots of people doing that now. And make sure, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, that you join, so then you'll see them. I'm going to start putting videos as we go along that process, so you can see what I've done and how I've actually done it. You may come up with another idea, but or even there's a lot of shops now where you can hire just one shelf in their shop and your products can go on that one shelf. So think about that. It's super important to think how you're going to do everything and make it work. Now, if you're really, really 100% keen on making a business work, my biggest suggestion is join a conference. Go to a conference, even if it's not mine, even if it's someone else's. You must go and join another conference, everybody, because that's how you'll learn. They'll give you tips on how to make money, how to, do your book, social media, how to be coached in it, how to make money. So this is what conferences are about. They're also about networking, community, making friends, making sure that, you're in a community that's going to help you, of like-minded people. Super important. As I did say, a shameless plug, I do actually own the Australian Soaping and Candle Conference. So you can come online if you're in another country, or even if you're in Australia and you can't make it, or you can buy a ticket online. And once a year in March, we actually do that. So the tickets online are only $49. They're not that expensive. You'll get an ebook with recipes and things like that, and links as well. So super duper good as well. But it's really important, because that's how you're going to learn. It's just like if you're going to be a bookkeeper, you'd usually go to school to be a bookkeeper. Go to a conference to learn how to be a proper business person, how to make money. That's what they're there for. They're there to literally educate you on how to succeed in a business. Anyway, I think I've wasted enough of your time. I'm sure it's been valuable, but it is Sunday here in Australia, and I'm going to go see how my husband's going, because I could hear a few bangs next door, because he is putting down flooring and making my new shop, which I'm super excited about. So hopefully we will open that in December, but of course I will let everyone know as we go along. Anyway, bye friends. Thank you.